Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as a Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about why fairies are bad and you should not work with them. Now, I've made little videos here and there just to sway people off from trying to work with these little beings of darkness. A very long time ago, I have worked with them, and yes, they'll present themselves as pretty cool, they'll present themselves as cute, and sometimes you guys are not even working with fairies, you're working with just flat out tricks or spirits, but fairies are things you're actually going to be seeing. They'll be running around, walking into your family, just once you let them into your house, they cause all different kinds of drama, and this is very occult-based knowledge, and I apply my past, people who I know who have worked around fairies, people who are just live in the pockets of Scotland, people who live in the pockets of Ireland, people who think that they're absolutely crazy until they actually see them, and then they really go crazy. But yeah, for the people who have not seen the rest of my content, this might, or people who have seen the rest of my content, this video might be kind of like, huh, he's talking about fairies? Yeah, there's fairies. There's fairies in nature. There's over 200 to 300 species of fae, and none of them are good. Like, absolutely none of them are good. Look at folklore, look at Celtic legends, just really take time to look at the different stories that all of these fairies have provided. I mean, even the stories are always based off of something true. Even Disney portrays them as, oh, the fairies are nice and sweet, and then a little Tinkerbell flying around. No, that is not the case. The case is that fairies are flat out tricksters. They'll be nice, they'll play nice, they'll act nice, they'll do cool things, and then when they have enough energy, they're like, finally, like, I couldn't stand this stupid person anymore, and they'll just turn up the notch on everything. If you do tarot readings, your tarot readings will go mad. They'll mess with every single card of your tarot reading, leading you to have no correct answers. Maybe some of you have already experienced that when you have fairies around. You can pull a card, you can pull, not just tarot readings, oracle cards. They'll mess with every single one of your cards, and they'll just actively do it, because these are physical, because they can fully turn invisible. They have different spiritual laws about them and physical laws about them that apply to them. For people who do different kind of mushrooms, for people who do hallucinogenic drugs, even people who don't believe at all, they have all said that they've seen the same things. Just little invisible beings that they know are there. They're like, okay, there's something just kind of watching me in the pockets of this dimension. That's what these beings are. They're expert hoppers of dimensions, and a lot of them have, I mean, I'm not going to go into detail about what they are, because there's nothing good about them. There's nothing that should be interesting or present itself as interesting about them. If this video is too outlandish for you, I suggest you click off this video, because I'm talking about something that people who live in just different pockets of nature will experience. So even like, I know people in England, I know people in Scotland, I know people in just different places around the world who they all have their different kind of fairies. So basically, even people in Jamaica, they'll say seeing mermaids and just etc. And you can, yeah, this could be like a fun video topic some people don't really take seriously, but there are some people who just start experiencing fairies, and you can set up little cameras around your house. You can put little cameras everywhere. These things don't look cute at all. They're very quick, they're very fast, they look like cockroaches. I've had people message me who've accidentally killed fairies, and they're just like, what is this? And they send me the pictures of the fairies, and it looks like a broken cockroach. The thing is, things are disgusting. Like, most of the time you guys are killing pixies, which are a species of fae. Like I said, I'm not going to go into details about fae, but they're just flat out rotten. And when you kill these things, they'll have they'll have little shiny things. Sometimes they'll have earrings on them. They'll have little shards of amethyst. Some of them will take things like anklets. They can take giant pieces of jewelry as well. Sometimes it comes back, but if you truly are so upset that it is gone, it might not come back at all, versus if you stop caring, it'll just kind of pop back up. It depends on your energy and depends on your situation, but there are spiritual laws where as to you can call it back. Like, say out loud, hey, give me what you have stolen back. Now, like I said, even in Mexico, they have their different forms of fae, different forms of fairies, and they're like I said, in different forms around the world. Even Native Americans reported seeing these things. There's nothing good about them. They're very, very weak as well, unless you make them strong, which you can make them strong by working with them. I could teach you how to kill a fairy real quick. Iron and steel, they cannot heal. So basically, when you leave iron around, when you leave steel around, they can cut themselves on it, and they're not going to get better. Simple as that. So they're really revolted by that. If you want to see an example, so for the people who think I'm absolutely nuts, whatever, this is just a different part of people who are spiritual awakening, who actually notice these things. Here's a good story. So if you have anything, because they'll steal something and misplace it. So like they like taking dentures too from older people. So they'll take dentures and usually like they like to put them at the very like center of the underside of your bed just to drive you nuts. And you're like, I know that couldn't have got there no matter like how hard I reached. Like, yeah, they're messing with you. Set up little cameras around. But one thing you can do, if they're stealing from you, if things are just going missing all the time, take iron, just anything like that sharp and iron. And it just started getting like nice and sunny and hot outside. But take iron and put items that you don't want stolen around iron. Those things will not go missing anymore. Because some of you say like, oh, I know I have that one spot where I put my keys, and there is no way in the entire world. And way back then when I didn't have protection against fairies, and you can look at every Celtic, every just different folklore legend, they are all allergic to the same things. So, and people are like, what? No, they're not all bad. Some of them are cute and nice. But the favorite people of fairies to work with are extremely gullible humans. Like people who are just flat out easy to fool, people who are flat out gullible, people who can just kind of be stepped on will work with fairies. They'll get in the house. They have the potential to kidnap too. If you don't believe me, just look at different legends online or just different stories. Every one of the stories has similar information. They all have different forms. Some of you might see them as wisps, as lights. You'll think it's an angel, but it doesn't act like an angel. So different wisps that you see online, basically in Ireland, these people would be walking on the path and they just see this and it almost looks like flies. It does not look like fairy at all. So these things look like a bunch of just fireflies, and it's all these different colors. I think they call it willow wisp or something like that. There's different species of fairies that I'm not going to get into. So these people will go off the path and kind of follow it, because if they see a bush, like a flying bush of just what looks like dragonflies, they didn't know that it was fairies. They're just like, wow, these flies are beautiful and cool. They're doing a light show, and like it has no form, it has no face, and they just follow into the woods and all the lights just turn off. And those people who follow them into the woods, and it's the same story over and over again countless times, those people who follow those lights into the woods end up dying because they don't know how to get back on path. They don't know how to really get back on road, get back to civilization, or recover from that. I'm gonna move the camera so the dude doesn't photobomb. But so yeah, with fairies, keep them away. They're not good. There's nothing good about fairies. There's nothing good that comes from it. People who like to entertain them always get in major trouble. Now, there was some foolish woman on TikTok, and she lives in like the rural somewhere. I don't know, no one's gonna sneak up on me in my video. There is some woman, right? And she's in the middle of the rural United States, and there's different parks, there's different pockets of just cities, different pockets of just different areas where fairies are known to be. Like, it literally, they'll have signs in the park, and people who go to the park at a certain time every evening will say they see these little cockroach, winged, like just kind of weird humanoid looking things just pop out of the trees, and that's just known, like that's their home. Okay, you leave them alone. But this woman was foolish enough. She set up a little altar garden in the front of her house, and they started making mushroom rings. They started making summoning circles, and that's how they get in. I might be wiping my crown off right now. I can't really see because it's so bright. Oh man, but I can't see my phone. The thing about fairies is they'll always look for an inn, especially if you live in like woodland or pocket areas. You don't have to live in a woodland or pocket area. You can live in somewhere in like a city by the beach, because they do have just little fairies that move around very quickly through cities. They like to steal stuff, etc. Nothing's good about them. So this woman, she set up a fairy garden. She started noticing little like wrapped baggies of like amethyst, and little wrapped baggies of just little like shiny things like coins and stuff like that. And here's a little secret, and I don't care how crazy people think I am, because this is just advanced knowledge that I'm ready to teach, because people are just all about thinking Tinkerbell is like fun and fluffy and real, and just, I mean, real in a good way, but real in a bad way, yeah, 100%. But she accepted little offerings. They got into her house. She let her husband started taking the offerings too. Now everything in her house started going crazy. There's fights in the house. The kids are always crying, and she did say her kids. It's like she actually made a video crying. I don't know what her name is in the TikTok. You can find this on TikTok yourself, but go and just find it for yourself, because it's still up there. She was crying. She said like her kids were saying the fairies were making her fly, and she's like, it's like everything's going absolutely nuts, and she's crying, and she can't really tell anyone, because what you're gonna go to the police department and say, my fairies made my children fly out of the crib. Like, they're getting out of the crib now. Who are you gonna tell that to? And they're gonna believe it. Like, half of the people who watch this video are gonna believe me. Whatever, I'm just presenting this information. It's factual knowledge based on experience and based on people who live in the actual areas. But ask people in the islands about fairies. They always talk about the mermaids that are just really, stay away from them, because they have different stories and tales from all across the world. But this woman, I don't know what ended up happening to her. I just flat out warned her. She ignored my advice. All my followers were sending me her videos. I'm like, what did you expect? This is the exact thing the exact thing that I said would happen is actually happening to her now, and she's surprised. Okay, you want to take your life for a game? Then go ahead. People want to drink Moldavite water and really mess themselves up and really just mess all their chakras up? Go ahead. You want to do things because it entertains you, because when the freakish, scary result comes and it's finally entertaining to you, that's your entertainment, that's your karma. Now you deal with it. Now you realize this is a real life. Our actions have real consequences. So that's another story. If you really are interested in, because I can't go upon every different, and that's a personal story from a woman who I said flat out, don't work with fairies. Don't be foolish. These things are not cute. They'll flat out steal and lie and just cause up a whole bunch of havoc. And some gullible person in my TikTok comment section was like, oh, fairies are good, just research it. I'm like, I don't have to research it. I used to work with fairies way long ago, until I found out they were really bad, and my angels flat out told me these are not good beings. These are flat out beings of darkness. They are the most earthly things ever. If you're trying to elevate your spirituality, one thing you have to do to open your crown chakra is to detach from earthly elements, and fairies are the most earthly element. They'll do things for you. They can steal just certain things. Like you can teach a crow to steal $100 bill, but what is that doing for you karmic wise? You're defiling laws of nature to steal. You know how bad that comes back to you? The $100 won't mean nothing when you don't have anything left. Let's just say that. So don't try to, like, people like, oh, okay, I can use a crow to steal, and then people try it and then they get the worst karma in the world. Just be smart, be good people. Like, if you want to work with beings, work with angels. They're stronger than fairies. Fairies are just flat out weak, and I'm pouring sweat over here. I'm gonna get my tan on. They said this week is gonna be one of the hottest weeks in Florida, so I'm just gonna be wiping and swatting and moving sweat around, and just different crowns coming in and out. But this is a very fun video for me to make, because a lot of people have been asking me to talk about this for a long time. But yeah, just stay away from fairies. Don't work with fairies. There's nothing good about them. Just look at different, even just based on ancient legends, all the ancient legends say the same things about fairies. They're not good. They're extreme tricksters. Just even in all the Irish legends about basically the fairies, and they seem like just stories, but it's the same stories all over the world, told over and over and over again. So it's some kind of true origin, just like with Disney and Tinkerbell, and like, oh, fairies are real. Some people it takes them a long time to figure out fairies are real. Oh, I forgot about this. This is a good. So if you don't believe that fairies are real, look at just different ancient Egyptian civilizations. Look at ancient Chinese civilizations. They had coffins for fairies, and there's actually things in the coffins that they don't really open on camera. But you can do this research yourself. Fairies are real. They're out there. For people who are like, he's going crazy. Yeah, it's actually, they're just uncovering just different mummified remains of fairies now, like little tiny people, like little gnomes, and people are really freaked out by it. Like, no, that's fake. Yeah, it's fake because they dug it up, but they found it in a tomb, and that's fake. Yeah, they faked it before they went in the tomb because they had time to fake stuff like that. Like, okay, cool, whatever. But yeah, just do your research. There's so much information online. Just don't expect these things to be good at all. So when you work with them, nothing good happens. Once you let them in and pass, it's like working with a bad spirit. They're just as weak as a bad spirit. If you want to work with things that are actually cool and actually nice, work with angels. Angels are wonderful. They come from God. They're helpers to humanity. They're going to cause actual change in your life that's really good and beneficial for you. You work with fairies, things will flip upside down, and you're going to be asking for help, and you're not going to be able to find the help because, well, I offer help, so you can come to me for help. It takes people to get burned by fire to realize that the fire is going to burn them. That's a good way to say it, but this is a truly fascinating topic. Do your research online. There's 200, 300 species of fairies. There's just different tales, as if a lot of the nice ones, even a lot of the really friendly ones, are just ones that end up killing people anyway. There was a beautiful fae looking woman, by this. Just basically ask islanders, ask people who live near the regions. There's boat tippers in Native American cultures, like just these mysterious beings that pop out of the water and just tip the boats and start laughing. It's the same thing, but this is a pretty cool video for me to teach. Some people are going to think I'm absolutely nuts for teaching this video. It's getting pretty hot out here. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. This is for the spiritually open-minded and the spiritually developing people who want to learn about other beings of non-light, to stay away from them. Just basically tell people, hey, I'll point you guys straight to God and to work with his angels, because you're going to see real change when you work with helpers of humanity and you acknowledge God as the Most High. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!